Hello students, welcome to YourPedia platform. My name is Arun Pathania and today in this video we are going to discuss a question which was asked in last year's HPCL interviews, and this interviews was for the branch of civil engineering. Okay, so let us just read the question and try and solve it. So the question is, what is M sand and what are its merits or demerits over natural sand? Before attempting this question, one must know that M sand क्या चीज है, natural sand क्या चीज है, then only we can discuss the what are their respective merits and demerits. Okay, so now in this picture you can see a stack of M sand. Now the full form of M sand is manufactured sand. M sand is basically manufactured sand. So this sand is prepared either in plants or factories through mechanical means. It's not present naturally at certain places. It is produced artificially. That's why it is called manufactured sand. This is the difference between manufactured sand and natural sand. We will discuss this later in more detail in later slides. So let's just move on to this. Before telling you what is natural sand, let me tell you what is sand. Now sand is a material which is formed by the disintegration of the rocks. Sand is a kind of soil only, and soil is formed by the weathering of rocks. So in the same manner, sand is a material that is formed by the disintegration of rocks. But why it is called as sand and not gravel? Because the size of these small rock particles will lie in this particular range. And when the size lie in this particular range, तो उस तरह की soil को we call as sand. That kind of soil is called as sand. So here I have shown, if I take sieves of like 4.75 mm sieve, I also take, and 75 mu sieve size sieve I also take. So most of the particles of this particular, if this soil is sand, then most of the particles, most of the grains will lie in this particular range only. There might be some finer particles, there might be some coarser particle, but their proportion will be very small. Most of the particle will lie in this particular range. Then only we can call a particular soil a sand. Okay. And now what is natural sand? Sand which is found naturally, sand which is found in nature. Now where we can find this sand? This sand can be present in riverbeds or in beaches or in deserts also, if you see. So this kind of sand is called as a natural sand. Now how is this natural sand has been formed? This sand is formed by the physical weathering of rocks. Sand is formed by the weathering of the rocks only, and since sand is cohesionless, there is no force of attraction between the particles of sand. So this is formed by the physical weathering of the rocks. Physical forces are responsible for the disintegration of rocks. It might be change in temperature, it might be vegetation can also be caused, the wedging action of ice can also be the cause. So these are the physical causes which results in the weathering of rocks. So sand जो है, that is formed, natural sand is formed by the physical weathering of the rocks, and then it is transported by running water or wind. किसी और जगह पे weathering होगी, and then this sand will get deposited at some other place. Okay, so जैसे कि आप देख सकते हैं, in case of river beds also, clay is also deposited, sand is also deposited, and this silt is also deposited. So sand is deposited either by running water or wind. Wind, आप लोगों ने देखा होगा कि desert area में sand dunes are formed. So that sand has been formed at some other place, but because of the high velocity of the winds, this has been transported from one place to another. Now, what is the another characteristic of the natural sand? Since the natural sand has been transported over large distances, so there will be abrasion also, and there will be attrition between the sand grains also. These grains will rub over one another over a very long time. Because of this, in the beginning they might have some different shape, but over time when sand get deposited, all the grains of sands become spherical in shape, because of the abrasion or attrition that has been going over such a long duration. Okay, so these are the characteristic of the natural sand, and this is the definition of sand. Now the problem is, sand has a lot of applications in building industry. It is used for making mortar, it is used for making concrete, and other places it is also used. So because of this, what happened is now urbanization is going on, and people are making new buildings every day, new construction is going every day. So the demand for sand is increasing every day, and it's increasing many folds, and this is putting a lot of undue pressure on the natural sand resources. Okay, and because of this, it has led to the over exploitation of these resources. And like, for example, you might have heard of like illegal mining that is going on the riverbeds, okay, Avaid Khanan, which is called. So that is this only, because people are demanding for this natural sand in large quantities, and it is very difficult to meet that demand. So people are taking the sand out of the riverbeds in an illegal way, and then they are selling it to meet out the demands, and that is creating a lot of problems. And the floods is one of the consequences of this, because the profile of the riverbed has now changed, and this is creating problems for the people lying near the riverbeds. So in order to stop that, in order to provide a proper alternative, what our industry has come up with is M sand. Now we have taken M sand as the substitute of natural sand. M sand, or manufactured sand, which is prepared in plants or factories, has been introduced as a feasible substitute or alternative of our natural sand, so that this can be used for preparing mortar or concrete in place of natural sand. And because of the increasing demand of natural sand, the cost of natural sand is also increasing day by day. So we need an economic alternative, and that economic alternative is M sand. Now let me explain what is the meaning of M sand and how it is prepared, how it is produced, and what are its characteristics. Now M sand, or manufactured sand, is produced by crushing hard granite stones. We are taking granite stones only because granite is very resistant to weathering, and it is very hard and durable stone. So instead of taking other stones like marble or sandstone, we are only using stones like granite or quartzite sometimes. So by crushing these hard granite stones mechanically, we are crushing in some plant using into grains which will be having sizes in this particular range. So this M sand, why it is called sand? Because this is formed by the crushing, by breaking these stones, and the sizes are within this particular range. That's why it is called as sand. And since it is produced artificially, it's called manufactured sand. That's the reason why it is called as manufactured sand. Okay. Now these grains will be very well graded. We'll ensure that all the grains are not of the same size. Some grains are smaller in size, some grain will be larger in size, although they will lie only in this particular range. But some will be around this particular size, some will be around this particular size, some will be in between sizes, intermediate sizes will be there also. So it will be very well graded. Moreover, it will be well washed, so that any rock dust can be removed, any impurities can be removed. So this sand is well graded as well as well washed. Moreover, the grains of M sand will be angular in shape, because there is no attrition that is going on, there is no abrasion that is going on over a long time as it was happening in natural sand. So in this case, the grains will be angular in shape, not spherical in shape, and this creates the difference between the natural sand and manufactured sand. That's why the characteristic of both sands are different. Okay, and we'll study that. Now here is a picture which is showing the M sand, which is grayish in color, because granite stones when broken they will be grayish in color, and on the other hand, river sand, as you can see, is little bit yellowish or this earthish or muddish color it have. So this is how the M sand looks different from the river sand. And you can also see that M sand will have a little bit of a sharp texture. It will be a rough texture it will have. On the other hand, the river sand will be very smooth to touch. It will have spherical shape, very uniform shape every grain will have, but here every grain will have different shape, and it will have very rough or sharp texture if you touch it. So now coming on to the advantages of M sand over natural sand. What are the advantages of M sand? So the first advantage is that since it has been well washed and well graded, there is no dust or silt present in it. Moreover, there is no organic impurities present in it, because here we are taking this granite stones only, and then we are crushing it into a smaller grain, so there is no organic material that is present. What happens in natural sand, some organic impurities gets mixed in between while the sand is being transported, so we don't want that impurities, because it will create problems. So the biggest advantage that it has is that it doesn't have any inorganic impurities, it doesn't have any salt, that is soluble salt, that is present in it, so that is the biggest advantage. Moreover, it is dust and silt free, so कोई bonding issue नहीं होगा. Okay, so mortar or concrete layers will bond very well with one another. There will be no bonding issue which might have come because of the dust. Okay, and third thing is that because they are angular in shape, they have better interlocking characteristic. The particles will interlock with one another in a better way. Rather than spherical shape, angular shape will have better interlocking characteristic, so more strength will develop. Okay, more grip or bond strength will develop. Moreover, since the this M sand is well graded, therefore more strength will be obtained in this case rather than your river sand or natural sand. The fifth thing is that since manufactured sand is prepared artificially, it will be more economical. Natural sand is also, you know, available for free for everybody, but since the demand is increasing, therefore now the government is putting some taxes over the mining of natural sand, taking out of the riverbeds and then transporting it in tractors or trucks from one place to another. That takes some amount of money, and because of this, in the recent times you must have noticed that the cost of the natural sand has increased exponentially, and because of this the cost of building a structure has increased many folds. So in order to solve this problem, now people are preferring M sand over the natural sand, because M sand, first, it is widely available, very easily available at all places, and secondly it is more economical in the long run. Okay. Sixth thing is that it is environmental friendly. We don't have to mine the riverbeds, we don't have to take this sand out of the beaches or out of deserts, so there is no threat to the environment or to the ecological balance. Okay, now coming to the demerits of M sand over natural sand. How M sand is not better, how this natural sand is better over the M sand, that we are going to discuss. The first is the M sand, since have angular particles, so it will produce less workable mixes because it will have more voids. So the water will go in these voids, and the water which is available for making the mix workable, that will be now less free water will be available. So our mix will not be as workable as we would have wanted it to be. Okay. Third thing is that because it is formed by the crushing of the grains, some grains can be flaky. Out of all the grains, some grains can be flaky in nature, and you know, flaky grains will not produce high strength concrete or mortar. So we don't want these flaky grains, but some grains might be flaky, okay, in shape. Flaky means that their one dimension is very small as compared to other dimensions, so that are flaky particles. Third problem is that the finish of M sand is not smooth, because M sand will have this rough texture, will have angular particles. So as compared to your river sand, M sand, the finish of the a mortar that has been, or concrete that has been made using the M sand, will not be that smooth as compared to your river sand. So therefore M sand is rarely used for plastering purposes, because plastering you need proper finish, so that you know your paint can be applied very smooth and you have a very smooth finished surface. So M sand is rarely used for plastering. For other purposes, M sand can be used, because for concrete there is no issue, because there are coarse aggregates also present. So in concrete there is no issue, but whenever you are going for, even in case of your bricklaying mortar, there is no issue. But when we are making the finishing mortar that is going to be used for plastering purposes, in that case we want our natural sand instead of M sand. So these were some of the advantages and some of the disadvantages of M sand over the natural sand. So this question was asked last year, and this was a detailed answer to this particular question, where I have described like what is natural sand, what is sand, how M sand is being made, and why it is called sand or manufactured sand. and what are its merits and demerits over natural sand. So I hope that you might have gained something from this particular video, that this question is now clear in your minds, and if somebody asks you this in future or in any interview, you can answer it in a very good language, in good words. Okay, so thank you, that's it from my side, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors.